A footnote in the logbook of Calypso by Captain Cousteau.
For 15 days, Raymond has served squid to the divers and crew. They have eaten squid prepared in ink, fried squid, baked squid, boiled squid, stewed squid, squid fricassé, squid en casserole, and squid à la squid. Only André Laban shares the chef's enthusiasm. Perhaps because it's been hinted that a daily diet of squid might help to restore his hair.
Donne ça à la barre, c'est le seul qui est marre.
Emballe.
Allez, jette ça aux mouettes. Allez, jette ça aux mouettes.
But Raymond Cole has another plan for quickly reducing the cook's refrigerated stocks of squid. For several days, he has observed a California sea lion being fed fish in a nearby training enclosure. But Cole knows that in the wild, the succulent squid are priority prey for the agile seals. Hand-feeding the seal, Cole is flooded with a warm memory of an earlier time when squid was not the only bond between him and another seal he had come to know and love, named Pepito. But all of that was in another place, another time.
In the male squid, the sperm are produced in packets, which contain many thousands of sperm, each one. And these are called spermatophores. They're produced...
We have invited on board Calypso Miss June Lindstedt. She is an invertebrate zoologist with the University of Southern California Marine Biological Laboratory. Intrigued by our filming of the CROs, she has agreed to share her knowledge with us.
Notice the 8 arms, the 2 tentacles, and the head with its almost human eyes.
Oui.
Below the eye is the jet-like funnel, and the rest of the body is covered by a muscular mantle. The mating male usually approaches the female from below and to the side. Then, using a specially adapted arm, he transfers to the female from 20 to 40 sperm packets.
Oui, oui. Oui.
The actual transfer of sperm packets takes place so fast that only by special photography can the action be seen in detail. For example, here you see the male holding the female, and with one arm reach back to the opening of his funnel.
Oui, oui, je comprends.
There, the tip of his arm curls around an instantly extruded sheaf of sperm packets. The arm then swings forward to deposit the self-ejaculating sperm packets close to the female oviduct, which is located within the mantle cavity. The male may repeat this action several times before releasing his hold upon the female.
Extraordinaire. Je ne pensais pas que ce soit comme ça.
Here, in an extreme close-up of the action, you can see clearly the arm of the male grasping a compact bundle of spermatophores, all of uniform size. Each spermatophore contains countless microscopic spermatozoa.
C'est formidable.
Miss Lindstedt next explains to Falco that the female eggs are thus uniquely fertilized internally. But in addition, excess inactive spermatozoa are stored in a reservoir by the female for release during the actual egg-laying period. One of nature's many fail-safe methods for perpetuating the species.
Next to each other. Eggs are produced in the ovary, and as they pass through the oviduct, the protective egg case is formed around them. The whole mass is then extruded through the funnel opening, and not without considerable exertion. The anchor filament emerges from the funnel first. But when the egg case is completely free of the funnel, The capsule is moved backward until the end of the anchor can be held in the tips of the female's arms.
La nature est vraiment surprenante.
She's then prepared to attach the egg case securely to the sea floor.
Au fond de la mer,
This is the moment just before the permeable jelly of the capsule begins to harden, when the female may diffuse some of her reservoir of spermatozoa over the surface of the egg case.
formidable.
After a short rest period, the female squid will repeat this egg-laying process at regular intervals throughout the 3 to 4 day spawning period.
Incroyable. Absolument incroyable.
The essence of classical tragic drama is that the audience knows from the very beginning the inevitable outcome of the play, the irreversible destiny of the protagonist. As witness to the fall of another human being from the pinnacle of his life, the onlookers are struck with fear and pity. For a vicarious instant, they are terrifyingly aware of their own ultimate fate. And so it is in nature. The tragedy of the sea arrows is to remind us how fleeting is our moment of life.
Within 72 hours after the great gathering of the sea arrows had turned into an acrobatic orgy, the divers discover the first signs of attrition. Many of the bejeweled sea arrows, who had arrived so recently from the reaches of the sea, now hang onto the kelp, bleached out, heaving with exhaustion. "24 hours later, starving males halt their compulsive mating attacks only long enough to cannibalize weakened females. Many of the females are too weary to labor the egg capsules from their funnels, and others whose body substance has been sapped by the creative process are near death, some locked in the arms of expiring males. The long night of an entire generation of sea arrows is drawing to a close.
On the 5th day, our divers report that the mating has come to an end, that the spawning is finished, that all is quiet here, save for the lingering of an occasional sea arrow. All others are dead. 20 million tiny corpses are strewn across the wide underwater plains that lead to the sea world beyond. The sea arrows have kept their appointment in Samara.
April 18th. Entry in the logbook of Captain Cousteau.
Again this morning, we are visited by a pod of pilot whales. They have come to feast upon the sea arrows as they have done every day during the spawning of the squid. But this time, they will be disappointed. Now, there are no sea arrows here for the pilot whales to devour. So they turn and head out to deeper waters in search for other bounty.
Living squids are prey for a host of marine predators, including themselves. But the greatest toll is taken by fishes ranging from king salmon to swordfish. The sea mammals also exact their measure of the squid population, the single largest consumer being the 50-ton sperm whale. And birds, from sea terns to the emperor penguins, take their share too. Even dead, the sea arrows are prey to these scavengers of the sea, the blacksmith fish.
I have asked our divers to undertake a daylight survey to determine the size of the sea arrow spawning grounds. Perhaps then we can estimate the results of the squid's reproductive activities.
Suddenly, Bernard Delamotte and Louis Prezelin are astonished to discover amidst the jumble of egg cases a barely living female sea arrow. Valiantly, she is attempting to deliver the last of her issue. Delamotte's gallantry is only exceeded by his midwifery. Continuing their underseas exploration, the divers spot an angel shark oafishly dozing on a mop of egg capsules. Awakened, the angel shark leads the divers on an unprecedented, privately conducted tour of the sea arrow's spawning grounds. A veritable blizzard of life.
Here, in this vast sea nursery, the silent throb of life begins anew. Here, a new generation of sea arrows will be born, some 7 billion strong. They, like their forebears, will live out their inevitable destinies, and they too will have their great moment. We have decided to remain at the sea arrow spawning grounds for the next month, the time it will take for the incubation and hatching of the baby squids. Every few days, our divers will collect specimens of egg capsules for microscopic examination aboard Calypso.
Cousteau also has the underwater television camera moved to the central locus of the spawning grounds. On board Calypso, a 24-hour watch will then be maintained to observe the changes which take place in protective capsules. Already the capsules have increased in size, and in the weeks ahead, as the embryos within grow, the elastic egg cases will stretch, ultimately expanding to 5 times their original volume at the moment of hatching.
A white chiffon-like sponge contrasts sharply with the sea fungus blossoming rapidly on the organic egg cases. This distasteful fungoid growth, combined with the toughening of the capsules, provides for the evolving squid nearly total protection from possible bottom-feeding predators. The iron-stomached starfish is actually the only known predator of the baby squids before they're born. But it takes nearly 3 to 4 days for the starfish to digest the leathery capsules. so they probably resort to the squid eggs only when there is no other easily available food supply.
On the 24th day of incubation, Cousteau decides to dissect one of the sea arrow egg cases for microscopic examination. The plasticity of the capsule resists even the scalpel's fine edge.
J'ai l'impression qu'on va pouvoir ouvrir. Oh, c'est solide, hein? C'est solide. Et l'essuyer.
Next, Cousteau removes from the gelatinous matrix a single transparent corian, a kind of expandable private aquarium, within which the miniature squid can maintain a suitable environment for its individual needs.
Sans l'abîmer, de le mettre sur le microscope. Une platine par-dessus.
To the naked eye, the myriad colors of this tiny jewel of life can be seen shining with radiant brilliance. And under the lens of the microscope, the perfectly formed squid pulses with a life rhythm handed down from ancestors 200 million years ago.
Sur l'animal lui-même.
Changing to a higher-powered objective, Cousteau shows Falco a close-up of the rough, mosaic-like texture of the young animal's skin.
Oh, c'est splendide. C'est beau, hein? C'est marrant, on dirait qu'il a une poche lui-même dans ses pattes, vous avez vu? Oui, oui. C'est vraiment le calmar miniature, hein, complet avec tout ce qu'il faut pour nager, pour manger, pour saisir sa proie. Extraordinaire.
Because more specialized instruments are accessible at nearby shore facilities, crew members of Calypso accept Miss June Lindsted's invitation to visit her laboratory. There, with the aid of a high-powered profile projector, they will be able to observe in minute detail the complete development of the sea arrow embryo.
Here we have stripped away most of the egg capsule to show the cellophane-like membranes, which in this case contain 10-day-old embryos. As you can see, the individual eggs are tightly packed together, but there still remains ample room inside each for the growth and movement of the embryo.
Regarde, il bouge déjà.
For a more detailed view of the embryo at this age, they must be removed from the turgid chorion.
C'est fantastique.
3 bulges mark the embryo at this stage. The uppermost bulge will become the mantle and most of the internal organs. The arms of the squid are visible below the 2 lateral bulges, and these bulges will become the eyes and part of the brain. The largest mass is the embryo's external yolk sac.
Ils sont déjà formés.
In the next several views, you can observe the embryos as they feed upon the egg sacs, something like a baby drinking milk from a bottle. The yolk contains all the nourishment needed by the embryo, and generally it is used up before hatching. Although sometimes squids may hatch with a residue yolk sac still present.
Qu'est-ce que c'est beau.
This 24-day-old embryo is nearly ready to hatch. You can easily see the suckers on his arms around the nearly depleted yolk sac. Yes, the eyes are now fully functional, and, I might add, the squid's eye is very similar in both structure and function to the human eye.
Miss Lindstedt then details the anatomy of the squid's flashing chromatophores and speculates on their possible use as schooling beacons in the dark, or perhaps as luminescent lures for ingenuous prey. She then describes the violent action of the corian-contained embryo when they are ready to leave the security of their tiny cells for the risks and adventures of the sea.
In hatching, the embryo uses a special organ located just between its 2 fins. This Y-shaped protrusion is used to secrete enzymes which digest away a portion of the chorionic membrane. At the same time, this organ pulsates and is used mechanically to drill a perforation in the chorion wall. It is through this hole that the embryo first uses the power of its jet action to escape from the egg. Upon hatching, The 1/8-inch baby squids are instantly hyperactive, as you can see here.
Ça y est, il est sorti.
And curiously enough, sometimes the first act of a newly hatched squid is a defensive one, the releasing of a cloud of ink into the water.
You say that's a cloud?
Well, to him, that's a cloud of ink. And who knows, maybe it's just enough to save him from becoming a snack for a hungry 2-inch mackerel.
20% of every new CRO generation dies before hatching, largely because of changes in the nursery environment. 50% of the live born are eaten by predators in the first week of their lives. The survivors are the only hope of their species, for buried in their genes lies a primeval drive to populate the oceans of the world. They, like all varieties of life on this planet, including man, will go forth blindly and compulsively to inherit the earth. This feeble, pulsing infant dance of life, multiplied billions of times over, is but a prelude to their massive invasion of the sea.
On May 18th, Cousteau returns his divers to the site of the sea arrow's spawning grounds. Visibility excellent. Temperature 61 degrees. Activity negligible. Here an instant ago, where an older generation of sea arrows had gathered itself into a vast multitude, mated, gave birth to a new generation, and died. There is nothing. And here, a split second ago, where an entirely new generation of sea arrows were born and danced the dance of the young, there is nothing. Nothing except that eternally silent witness, the sea.
Propriété Calypso.
Oh, c'est là, c'est là.
Il n'y a plus, regarde.
il a-
Oui, c'est terminé pour les calmars. On a assisté à la naissance, à l'amour, à la mort. C'est fini. Il n'y a plus qu'à faire route au sud.
It is over. Finished. Let's head south. And as goes Calypso, so goes the undersea reveries of the divers and crew.
Under the keel of Calypso, the elusive creatures enjoy a freedom we can only dream about. At times, the sonar pings of Calypso awakes unidentified echoes from the deep, perhaps from migrating masses of sea jets. 1,000 feet deep from the diving saucer, I have seen young ones, 2 or 3 inches long, probably blinded by our lights, dash headfirst into the mud of the bottom, and then time after time soar aloft and dive again. I also remember one evening when Calypso stopped for an early night dive. The sea was smooth as a mirror, the moonless sky black. Suddenly, for miles around us, little creatures popped out of the sea and fell back with tiny splashes. They were our squids. For a few minutes, it looked and sounded like rain. There is so much mystery. We still do not know what kind of life our squids lead between birth and death. But this much we do know. In spite of the perils and hazards of the squid's life in the deep, the sea arrows will return. And in countless unknown sheltered bays, they will relive, as they must, their tragic ancestral rite of the sea on some other night of the squid.
the weeks ahead, Captain Cousteau will journey to remote Guadalupe Island, last refuge of the great northern sea elements. There, the crew and divers of Calypso will experience hair-raising adventures amidst the bellowing anarchy of the Cyranos of the sea. Then you will accompany the skilled pilots of Aqua spacecraft as they probe the last wilderness frontier on Earth, the deep world beneath the sea. And below the oceanic light line, you will see the rescue of a crippled Calypso sea flea by its sister minisub in a suspenseful search in the night. Finally, you will share Captain Cousteau's personal memories as he reflects back upon yet unseen adventures in the 3-year voyage of Calypso. And you will share in the innermost thoughts of Captain Cousteau as to why men down through time have answered the call of the deep.